Nagkagulo ang publiko matapos kumalat ang ulat na nagbigay umano ng nakakagulat na pagkumpisal si Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla bago umano ito mamaalam sa isang sensitibong pulong. Ayon sa mga source, inilatag ni Remulla ang serye ng mga impormasyon na naglalarawan ng umano'y mga irregularidad na matagal nang ikinukubli sa loob ng ilang opisina ng pamahalaan. Ang biglaan at diretsahang pagsiwalat na ito ang nagpasiklab ng tensyon, lalo na't hindi inaasahan na marami ang bigat ng kanyang mga binitiwang pahayag. Dahil dito, agad umanong nabulabog ang Malacanang at maging si Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ay naiulat na nagdaos ng agarang konsultasyon kasama ang kanyang mga pangunahing advisor. Ilang opisyal sa loob ng administrasyon ang nagsabing hindi nila inaasahan na mula kay Remulla mismo manggagaling ang ganitong kalaking revelasyon. Habang patuloy na umiinit ang sitwasyon, nananatiling tikom ang bibig ng mga pangunahing opisyal tungkol sa tunay na nilalaman ng ipinahayag ni Remulla. Samantala sa social media ay hindi mapigilan ang pagdagsa ng iba't ibang reaksyon at espekulasyon mula sa publiko. May naniniwalang maaaring magbunsod ito ng malaking pagbabago sa loob ng gobyerno, habang ang iba naman ay nagdududa kung ano ang magiging susunod na hakbang ng administrasyon. Habang naghihintay ang sambayanan ng opisyal na pahayag, lalo lamang tumitindi ang sigalot at pag-aabang sa posibleng sunod pang mga pagsisiwalat na maaaring magpayanig muli sa bansa.
Then he should be made to answer who provided it to him, when was it provided, and what was the authority of the person who provided it to him.
Hindi na ako nagtataka na talagang pinupuruhan nila ngayon si Tatay Digong, no? At bukod pa dyan, alam naman natin na under pressure ang ICC dahil yung buong African Union nagbabanta na bibitiw sa pagiging miyembro ng ICC dahil ang pinupuruhan lang daw nila ay puro mga taga-Afrika.
Interviewon itong si Atty. Israelito Torion dyan sa One News ang ating pag-uusapan dito sa video na to. At ang abogado nitong si Alcantara ay nagsalita na. Halatang pigil ho siya sa kanyang mga sagot sa tanong ng media sa kanya. Pero bago ho yan, isang like at isang subscribe. Masaya na ho tayo dyan sa mga gusto sumali sa ating community. Yung joint button, nandyan lang ho sa baba. Rekta na ho tayo dito sa abogado nitong si Alcantara.
Attorney, good afternoon po. Kasi after the investigations, nakaramdam naman siya ng konting remorse dun sa mga nangyari. So, para sa side of good victim, gusto naman ibalik naman sa kaba ng bayan.
Palakpakan ho natin si Alcantara. Ha? Nakaramdam ho siya ng remorse. Pambihira ho. Pero noong ini-enjoy nila, nagpapatayo sila ng kung ano-anong mga struktura, walang remorse. Diba? Nung pinagpaplanuhan nila paano nakawan ng sambayan ng Pilipino, walang remorse. Tapos ngayon siya bida. Palakpakan ho natin itong si Alcantara. Ang toka, oo. Ito ang problema dito. Nagnakaw sila ng bilyon, magbibigay lang sila ng 110 million, absuelto na, tapos na usapan, gano'n?
Meron bang iko-commit din na ibalik pa na ibang pera na na-kickback itong si Alcantara sa mga iba pang proyekto?
Kung ano na lang po ang nasagot ni Acting Secretary of Justice, ay yun na lang po muna aking pwedeng i-commit.
O malinaw ho yun mga kababayan ha, kung ano na lang daw ho ang nasagot nitong si Acting Secretary of Justice. Yun na lang daw ho muna yun. Depende pa yun. Pagka sinabi nitong si Acting Secretary of Justice, mga mga 300 million pa. Okay na tayo nun. Ano? Sinong gumagawa ng computation? Si Acting Secretary of Justice? Yan ang sinasabi ni Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Yan ho ang problema dyan sa restitution na ginagawa nila.
Kamusta na po si Alcantara ngayon, sir? Maayos naman po siya. In high spirits kasi nga excited din siya na ibalik talaga itong pera to kasi nga parang sabi niya ito na lang matutulong niya para sa bayan. So gusto rin niya naman ibalik.
Pambihira, pahiro. Pahiro ho itong si Alcantara. Yan na lang daw ang matutulong niya sa bayan. Palakpakan. Iba bang klase ho? Matindi ho itong si Alcantara.
Talaga yung mga anak ko.
So sir, sa pagbalik ng pera, umaasa ba kayo na ma-admit na siya sa as a state witness?
Yun pong inaasahan namin. Sana naman ay maging dagdag na puntos iyon para sa kanya. Kasi nga tulad nun, para pinapakita naman namin na handa siya tumulong para sa investigasyon at maging testigo sa ongoing na mga investigasyon at magiging mga kaso. So, yun naman po talaga na.
Nag-submit din kayo ng counter niya. Ano pong nilalaman nito?
Hindi ko na lang po i-disclose yung naman ng counter affidavit, pero it's part of the process. So, talagang sumagot kami sa mga reklamo rin sa kanya. Depensa rin namin yung legal defenses at meron din kaming factual na mga discussions na we will just give it with the panel of prosecutors para i-resolve ba kung ano man ang magiging take nila dun sa defenses ng engineer.
Sir, may iba na doubtful na parang maliit yung amount na 300 million. Dapat ba may madagdagan pa tong ibabalik na pera?
Hindi ko po sasagutin yun at yun po ay I'll just give it to the secretary.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Check mo, may mensahe po kayo, may nagbalik kayo ng pera.
Ayun si Alcantara, superstar siya ngayon. Nagbigay lang siya ng 110 million. Palakpakan na sa itong mga taga-DOJ sa kanya. Anak ng tawa. Ganito ho tayo lokohin ng administrasyon na to. Kaya mag-ingat ho kayo sa pakikinig ng kung kani-kanino dyan, mga kababayan. Pinubola na ho kayo ng mga yan, lalo na yung mga taga-mainstream media. Rekta ho tayo dito sa interview nitong si Atty. Israelito Torion. Yay!
Yes, again.
Yes, good evening. Good evening po sa
Ako,
inyong lahat.
matindi ho ito.
Thank you, sir.
Magandang gabi po.
Yes, sir. Sir, of course, we do understand that you're not part of the legal team in The Hague in legal team handling the cases here in the Philippines. Una-una po, ano po reaction niyo dun sa nangyari?
Well, I accepted it with a peaceful heart, though at one time I was apoplectic. I posted it. I was hoping that the third ground would be granted, although I was not so hopeful insofar as the first two grounds were concerned. But nangyari na yan, wala tayong magawa. Let's just move on and continue to hope for the best.
Sir, the third ground you're referring to humanitarian grounds.
Yes, and I'm referring to the humanitarian grounds because indeed the grounds are very clear and evidences were presented that he needs to be out of prison. But, hindi lang ako masyado magkomento kasi I made a commitment that I will not make comments especially on the substantive issues of the case on the ground that I'm the lead counsel here of the petition for certiorari of the former president and Senator Bato de la Rosa.
Okay. Attorney, I was wondering if you're in Davao. If you are in Davao, what are the sentiments of, the everyday Davaoenyo? Umaasa pa ba yung mga Davaoenyo na mapapakawalan, may chance na mag-grant yung interim release, or parang they kind of, lost hope na?
Well, actually, we are hoping against hope, no? People in Davao City are hopeful that somehow a miracle would happen and the ICC would ultimately, find the necessary ground in order for the former president to be released. And we are prayerful likewise na merong milagro mangyayari.
Attorney, so you have also the appeals chamber saying they really used media reports and open source information from the Philippines in considering this whole request. How significant now, in your opinion, are the coverage of media here in the Philippines?
Yeah, that's why I'm very careful also with my comments, knowing that I was the lead counsel of the petition for certiorari, the very first petition that was filed questioning the arrest and questioning the continued cooperation of the Philippine government with the ICC. And that is why if you notice, I never comment especially on the substantive matters affecting the ICC proceedings, simply because of the fact that any comments that I may do, just like what was done by Vice President Sara Duterte, yung isang honest comment niya naging portion na dung sa isang decision po ng pre-trial chamber. So I do not want to be accused that I make unnecessary comments here in the Philippines which might harm the case of the former president in the ICC. Reportings here would really have a bearing in the ICC decisions.
As well as family statements. Having said that, kawin ko lang sa question ni Pawi, Attorney Torion, is the Duterte family, all members, are they now more mindful of, statements that they make kahit na ambush interview, because everything finds its way online nowadays?
Well, I am incompetent to really say that, but I can observe that they are now, mindful of what they say, because indeed, it would have, any comments would have an effect, no, in the proceedings before the ICC. Ibang-iba po yung procedure po ng ICC dito po sa ating bansa.
Attorney, may iba ko na konti. Ano po yung update dun sa petitions ninyo with the Supreme Court on Duterte and on Bato de la Rosa? Do we have any updates on that?
Yes, I already filed 6 motions for issuance of TRO, the latest of which was the declaration of Ombudsman Remulla that he has a copy of the warrant of arrest as against, as against Senator Bato de la Rosa. He declared that 4 times, and the latest of which was the affirmation on the part of his brother, the DILG secretary, that indeed he saw a signed digital copy, and that was one of the grounds that I used why there is now clear and urgent necessity on the part of the Supreme Court to act on my prayer for TRO, because this is an evidence that if such would be implemented here, that would constitute a continued cooperation with the ICC, and since that is the main matter which we question, knowing that we are no longer a party to the Rome Statute, then there are enough grounds for the Supreme Court to act. And the second ground was the processing of witnesses that may be presented before the ICC by the DOJ, and this processing of witnesses would constitute continued cooperation and therefore within the subject matter of the petition that we filed before the ICC. The other motion was the motion for production, which mainstream media has highlighted instead of the main motion that was denied. But I already filed a most respectful motion for reconsideration, citing among others that there is a duty, responsibility on the part of Ombudsman Remulla to produce the alleged warrant of arrest in whatever form or character, knowing that it has a direct bearing on the subject matter of our petition, because if such exists, then he should be made to answer who provided it to him, when was it provided, and what was the authority of the person who provided it to him, no? Because these matters are supposedly confidential. And we feel that he, being an officer of the court, he is still a lawyer, and the ombudsman at that, then the Supreme Court should make a ruling on the matter.
Sir, are you still in touch with Senator Bato de la Rosa? Kasi a couple of days ago, I understand, Senate President Tito Soto was asked about de la Rosa's case, and he said na, well, si Senator Bato should participate pa rin because he is not on official leave anyway. What is your response to that?
Well, knowing na medyo sabog kasi yung messaging ng gobyerno, hindi talaga natin alam kung may warrant of arrest na o hindi. 2 high officials na po ang nagsasabi na meron. Tapos yung DOJ naman sabi wala, yung DFA wala. So we also would like to be clarified as to what procedure would be applied if indeed there is a warrant of arrest. Would it be extradition rules or would it be surrender? And I have heard the opinions of our legal luminaries that it would be surrender simply because of the fact that the ICC is not a state pursuant to Rule 1, Section 3M, so therefore extradition rules would apply. I have a counter opinion on it, that the extradition rules were precisely issued in order to govern issues like this, but then even if we concede it, under surrender rules, we do not have clear implementing rules and regulations on the matter. If you read Article 59, even the competent judicial authority has not been defined under Philippine dispensation. Shall we conduct pre-trial? Shall we conduct preliminary conference? That has not been defined. If you also read Article 59, the proper process as to how you would effectuate surrender has not also been defined. So it is premature, therefore, to implement surrender without passing through our local courts, and the procedure as to what will be done by the courts, what proper petition should be filed, should be clarified and should be in written form before we implement such. And in the meantime that the IRR is not issued by the government, whatever branch it is needed to issue the same, then Senator Bato has reasons not to make himself available as of moment.
Right. Attorney, your last interview with us just days ago, that's exactly what you said. You're waiting for some sort of IRR on that surrender provision. But my question is it really meant to have an IRR? Or is it meant to be a case-to-case basis? That's why they just left it? Or na-overlook lang yung paggagawa ng IRR?
I think now they are realizing it because I have information that the DILG is somehow crafting one. And I know that for a fact because I also have friends there. And they are trying to craft what they call as a IRR, which would comply with the requirements on due process. And that is a very good development because indeed, no Filipino should just be dragged right away just because there is an alleged warrant of arrest from a foreign court and brought to a foreign court without passing through our local courts. We have functioning court system here. Kung may kaso si Senator Bato, ang amin pong stand ay Pilipino po siya, pailan ninyo ng kaso dito sa Pilipinas at aming haharapin. Kung argument ninyo ay Article 127, mag-apply pa, may jurisdiction pa yung ICC dito, even if kini-question namin yan, at the very least, the provisions on Article 59 should be applied. Kasi kung basahin mo, pati nga Article 89 on surrender, kailangan po applicable local law ang mag-apply doon po sa surrender. So kung even under the Rome Statute, yung applicable local law ang dapat mag-apply on surrender, then dapat klaro yung rules natin dito. Yun po ang aking humble stand.
Yes. Attorney, just going back to President Duterte at the ICC, sabi po ng appeals chamber that the medical records of Mr. Duterte weren't enough to justify humanitarian grounds, but we are still waiting for the medical evaluation, which will come out, the results of that evaluation, which will come out on December 5. But just to give us a clear idea, Attorney, ano po ba talaga yung kalagayan ni President Duterte ngayon? Do we have a clear picture on what his medical condition is right now?
Well, what I can only say is his condition is not good. And, legal experts would tell you that decisions of appeals chamber are final. That is really indeed the general rule. Especially on decisions on the merits. But there are likewise interlocutory decisions. And I humbly believe, I may be wrong, that interim release decisions or orders are interlocutory decisions. If there are supervening events that would arise necessitating the filing of another motion for interim release, that can be done. So therefore, even if as a general rule, a motion for reconsideration is not allowed, in this case, it may be allowed under limited circumstances, simply because the health of a person may vary from one time to another time.
Okay, maraming salamat for talking to the...
Ang husay ho talaga nitong si Atty. Torion. Meron pa ho palang pag-asa, no? Pwede pa palang anumang oras, depende sa sitwasyon, pwede hong pagkalooban ng interim release itong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Sana wag na hong hintayin yung sitwasyon na yon na talagang sumama pa ang kanyang kalagayan. Sa lalong madaling panahon, kung pwede na siyang palayain, dapat palayain na ho siya. Rumekta ho tayo dito sa kay Attorney Harry Roque sa interview niya ho dyan sa SMNI. Panoorin mo natin.
Ka pa rin at realities ang magdidictate kung palalabasin si Tatay Digong. Nagsalita na kasi yung ambassador ng Japan ng huling Assembly of State Parties ng ICC na bilang pinakamalaking donor ng ICC, hindi sila maligaya na puro acquittal ang nagiging desisyon ng hukuman. So hindi na ako nagtataka na talagang pinupuruhan nila ngayon si Tatay Digong, no? At bukod pa dyan, alam naman natin na under pressure ang ICC dahil yung buong African Union nagbabanta na bibitiw sa pagiging miyembro ng ICC dahil ang pinupuruhan lang daw nila ay puro mga taga-Afrika. So kinailangan nila habulin din si Tatay Digong para mapatunayan na merong silang non-African na hinahabol. At syempre, bukod pa dyan, alam natin na pag wala na si Tatay Digong, wala na silang kaso, so pinaglalaban din nila yung existence nila, no? Dahil kapag wala na si Tatay Digong, wala na silang mga trabaho lahat dyan sa ICC.
nagsalita po ang ICC at hindi nga nila binasura nila or hindi nila tinanggap yung kanilang apila ng kampo ni former President Rodrigo Duterte para sa interim release. Nagpaliwanag sila sa kanilang panig. Ano pong masasabi niyo po dito, Attorney?
Well, alam mo, malungkot ako, no? Dahil kahit papano, pinagdarasal natin na magkaroon nga ng interim release si Tatay Digong. Pero hindi naman ako nagtataka. At ang dahilan ay, alam ko naman, politika pa rin at realities ang magdidictate kung palalabasin si Tatay Digong. Nagsalita na kasi yung ambassador ng Japan, ng huling Assembly of State Parties ng ICC, na bilang pinakamalaking donor ng ICC, hindi sila maligaya na puro acquittal ang nagiging desisyon ng hukuman. So hindi na ako nagtataka na talagang pinupuruhan nila ngayon si Tatay Digong, no? At bukod pa dyan, alam naman natin na under pressure ang ICC dahil yung buong African Union nagbabanta na bibitiw sa pagiging miyembro ng ICC dahil ang pinupuruhan lang daw nila ay puro mga taga-Afrika. So kinailangan nila habulin din si Tatay Digong para mapatunayan na merong silang non-African na hinahabol. At syempre, bukod pa dyan, alam natin na pag wala na si Tatay Digong, wala na silang kaso, so pinaglalaban din nila yung existence nila, no? Dahil kapag wala na si Tatay Digong, wala na silang mga trabaho lahat dyan sa ICC.
Opo. After nito po, kasi apila na ito nagbigay na...
Grabe, napakasimple ho ng paliwanag nitong si Attorney Harry Roque. Yun lang ho talaga, yung pagiging relevant nila, yun na lang. Pero pagdating sa yung bang ginagawa nila na yan, talagang para sa human rights, para doon sa mga biktima, hindi ho. Politika ho yan, mga kababayan.
Sila ng final decision po, Attorney. Ano na po ang susunod? Latagan na po ba? Magkakaroon na po ba ng latagan ng ebidensya? Yung trial proper na po ba ang susunod, Attorney?
Yun nga nakakalungkot, no? Hindi pa. Medyo naantala lang talaga yung pre-trial detention ni Tatay Digong dahil siyempre 8 buwan na siya nakakulong, hindi pa naman napapatunayan ng kahit ano, no? At hindi pa nagsisimula yung formal na proseso. Alam mo, kaya nakakalungkot, kaya merong interim release para balansehin na sa ICC, pwede kang arestohin on the basis of good grounds lamang. Wala pang probable cause, pwede ka na arestuhin dahil ang probable cause, yan parang yung hahanapin pag nagkaroon na ng confirmation of charges. Kaya nga dapat, kung susundin mo yung patakaran ng mga naunang international tribunals, gaya ng Tribunal for the Former Yugoslavia at saka Rwanda, halos automatic ang pagka-grant nila ng interim release. Kasi wala pa namang mabigat na ebidensya laban sa mga nasasaktal. Pero dito sa ICC, iba ang naging practice ng hukuman. Talagang hindi sila nagbibigay ng interim release, no? Kapag ikaw ay akusado ng war crimes, crimes against humanity, no? But in any case, meron pang nakabinbin sa appeals chamber yung sa issue ng jurisdiction. Yun sa akin ang pinaka-importante. Dahil pag tayo nanaig doon sa issue ng jurisdiction, ibig sabihin yan, wala nang kaso si Tatay Digong at makakauwi na. At ako naman, dahil minsan na nagsalita ang ICC sa issue ng jurisdiction, na nagkaroon ng 3-2 decision, mas malakas ang laban natin. Kasi dito sa issue ng interim release, palagi silang unanimous, no? Pero sa tingin ko, dito sa issue ng jurisdiction, may konti tayong laban dyan dahil nung unang desisyonan yan, 3-2 ang naging botohan sa appeals chamber.
Opo, meron po pahayag dito si Attorney Kaufman. Ang sabi, meron pa daw inaantay na resulta sa medical evaluation kay dating President due next month and will reintroduce its request to release a man who is 80 years old and as a result of debilitating physical and cognitive conditions is incapable of flight or as alleged threat to witnesses, Attorney?
Well, opo, nakabinbin din yan, pero sa akin ang pinaka-importante yung jurisdiction. Kasi yung jurisdiction, kahit anong estado ni Tatay Digong, dahil yan ay isang issue of law, dapat yan malinaw na wala talagang jurisdiction, na sa aking pag-iisip naman ay malinaw yan. So, syempre, nakabinbin pa rin yung issue ng fitness to stand trial, pero again, if you go by the record of the ICC, wala naman silang binibigyan. Wala pa silang nabibigyan ng desisyon na dahil unfit to stand trial,